When all things seem to fall apart, God is there holding you up. Nashville's contemporary Christian and country songwriter, music artist, and performer Gary Chapman has received countless awards. #1 singles, Dove Awards, Grammy nominations, and several times named Male Vocalist of the Year. His passion for reaching the world with his songs of hope, faith, and laughter has reached millions. But his life hasn't always been a smooth ride. This is his story. This is today's Nashville. This is faith. Gary Chapman. It has been a long time. I've been wanting you on my show forever.
We have talked about this for
a long time.
At least a couple of years.
And then COVID hit. And,
yeah.
But
I heard about that.
Yeah. But thank you for inviting me to sit down. You have been so busy over decades. Let's go back.
Wow. It's
when
a long
did it
way.
all start?
It's a long way back. I came to Nashville when I was 19. That's 45 years ago. And it's just been a bizarre, fabulous, wild ride. And it does not slow down.
I know, you've been so busy.
Doesn't. Well, you know, I think a lot of that is choice. I think we all get to make that choice every morning. You know, am I going to fire into this day, or I'm going to sit on my tail and let it come at me, wash over me, you know, and I'm not very good at that. So.
Well, you were born in Oklahoma, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Waurika, Oklahoma, which is 12 miles from the Texas border. I tell people that I was clinging to the uterine wall. You can make it, Mama, you can make it. And she did not. We did not get to Texas. No, I grew up in Texas most of all my life, starting when I was about 6, I guess. But born in Oklahoma, love it there.
And your dad was a pastor?
Assembly of God pastor his entire life.
How was that like growing up as a...
You know what? It's historically horrible. Preachers' kids rightfully get a reputation for being, you know, pretty rowdy as a rule, because they all live in varying degrees of some kind of repression. My parents were amazing about that particular thing. Our house was safe. You know, it's not like they didn't have rules. Trust me, they had them and they enforced them. But it was somewhere that I could feel absolutely safe. Because when you pastor in a small town, like it's 2,000 people, De Leon, Texas, and he was much beloved. So despite the fact that there were tons of churches and everybody went to one, you know, he didn't pastor them all on Sunday morning, but when the wheels came off, he was just a great pastor, and people knew he was somebody that could help them. So he kind of pastored the town to some degree. That means that, you know, there's nowhere to go without being caught.
Well, I love your history and your story, and we'll get to it, but it almost comes full circle with your dad at the end. I read that, and you know, what you and your wife did, and took care of him. But before we get into that, I want to talk to you about how you are one of the most sought after contemporary Christian and country music artists here. And how did that all start? When did God start pulling you into music and songwriting?
Right. My mom stood me up on a piano bench when I was 3, and the two of us sang an old song called Inside the Gate. And an old fella in the church came up to me after the service, and he said, "Son, you did a good job." And he stuck a brand new Buffalo nickel in my hand.
How old were you?
I was 3. And I never looked back. That just seemed ridiculous to me, that I could get up and do something I love to do and somebody pay me for it? Are you kidding? So I always knew that I was going to do music somehow. And that's when I came to Nashville. I started out playing. One of my very first jobs was with the singing Rambos. I'm sure you remember Dottie Rambo and all that. Dottie,
how old
really,
were you then?
I would have been probably 18, sneaking up on 19 by then. And it was just awesome. It was a great job. They were paying me $175 a show. And we were working 3 or 4 nights a week. And I'm sharing a 1-bedroom apartment with 3 other guys, right? And nobody's ever home, all musicians. And I thought I was on top of the absolute world. And on top of that, Dottie, she saw something and she took me under her wing and she taught me how to write songs. Until Dottie came along, I was just the kid in class that could finish the dirty rhyme quickest.
Well, I'm telling you, you have become a famous songwriter. So tell me some of the songs that you've written and who inspired them?
Well, it's not a stock answer, it's actually the truth. God inspires them all. Creativity is His. The enemy can't actually create anything. He mimics things. But God makes things out of nothing. And when He lets you participate in that, it is as godly as I ever get. It's just such an honor to be a part of that process. Now, obviously, you have to work at it a bit. When I first came to town, I really worked hard at being a songwriter. Every day, I'd have 2 or 3 writing sessions and just work hard because there is a craft to it. And then over the years, I realized that the songs I worked the hardest on, they didn't have an ounce of fat on them. They might get cut, but they would never be a single. It would never be something that impacted people. And then every now and then, it's like you step off a curb and this song-shaped bus just mows you down. You did not see it coming. And it's literally as quickly as I can write it down. That's when I know that I'm just here for the ride, you know? And it's awesome. It's humbling and it's awesome. Those are the songs that have the longest life.
When was that moment that you knew? And do you remember one of the songs that you just knew?
Absolutely. I would take songs to Dottie. We'd be going down the road, you know, going to the next show with regularity, and I'd play it, and she'd say, well, honey, that's nice, but in the second verse, she'd sort of critique it, you know. And I went up there one day, and I played this song top to bottom, and for the first time, she didn't have anything to say. She just said, son, that's a great song. Why don't you sing that tonight in the concert? And I was like, okay. I did not expect her to follow through. She did. There was an amazing response. Popcorn, you know, I call them popcorn standing ovations. They're different kinds. There's one that's just, poof, they just pop. And it was that. She never asked me to sing again. That's actually why I decided to quit and just become a songwriter full time. That song was Father's Eyes.
Father's Eyes.
Yeah.
A lot of people know that. You know, we're going to talk about your journey and the struggles that you faced. You've had a few struggles in your life.
Thank God.
And we're going to be talking about it in a minute. Gary, you have always been in the Father's eyes, but you've faced a lot of struggles through this whole process. Share with me some of the things that you've gone through.
How long is this segment? You know, we talked a little bit about the preacher's kid repression. The way that I handled that, I was the perfect kid, tried to be, at least. My brother was the wild one, and I saw how that injured my parents, how it hurt them. And I decided not to do that. So I hid all my craziness as best I could. And then as soon as I left home, I didn't hide it anymore. Actually, Bible college, some of the craziest time in my life, honestly. It's mostly preacher's kids and worse, missionary kids, you know. So I don't know who decided it was a good idea to take all these kids who've lived in the aforementioned varying degrees of repression, and the first time any of them leave home, let's put them in one spot. So we kind of all fed on each other, and it was It was wild. It was 30 miles from Dallas, crazy town. And I started doing some drugs, some recreational stuff, just smoking weed or whatever, and just didn't think anything about it. I didn't at all. Then I came to Nashville, and the weed turned to cocaine, which was the songwriter's drug of choice. Honestly, this is not to indict anybody. It's not a justification. It's simply the reality. In the early 80s in Nashville on Music Row, I didn't know many songwriters that weren't doing cocaine. It was the common thing. And again, not an excuse at all. And I went down that path for about 5 years. Again, I had perfected duplicity. I had two completely different lives. I had my church life, and I mean it. I really do. I'm writing Christian songs. I'm singing on stage. I believe what I'm doing, and at the same time, I've got this other path that I'm trying to keep one foot on. You think it's hard to live a life? Try two. It is maddening and exhausting. And I finally got to a place, and this is a story I don't tell in its entirety because there's other people involved. But my first marriage reached a point to where I knew that what I was doing was really harmful. And there was other stuff, but for my part, I decided to quit. And I did that day, September 2nd, 1986. This is wild, I have not seen cocaine since September 2nd, 1986. Living the life that I have clearly lived, I have been completely protected. And I thank God for it. That was difficult, but God was there. He just was there. He gave me the strength I needed, and I walked it out with his help. Then you fast forward another 7 years or so. I believe I may get some of these numbers wrong. I'm old, you realize. But then my divorce, it was very difficult time. Again, we need a full segment to dissect that, and I try to be respectful. That whole thing has turned into the very best example of forgiveness and reconciliation that I'm aware of.
Isn't that amazing that
It's
God
amazing.
can do that?
It is an amazing
He's a God
thing.
of restoration.
He is incredible. And I would not have thought it possible. And then about 5 years ago, took a long time, but God just literally out of the blue, I'm driving down the road and I didn't audibly hear it. I'm dying to hear what he sounds like. I haven't heard that yet, but I will. But just as powerful, you've got to forgive. And it's beautiful now. It's beautiful now. What was really painful has turned into an amazing thing. Because we run into each other all the time. It's a small town, it's a small community. We're in the same family. And now that has gone from something that I dreaded on a consistent basis to something that I love. We sit and laugh and cut up like old friends, and it's amazing.
And you have a new grandbaby now.
I do. My oldest daughter, Millie, has given us Penelope, and she's amazing, which is a miracle. Millie, 3 years ago, I believe it was, donated a kidney to her very best childhood friend. They met in preschool. This Catherine had a degenerative thing that she was losing both kidneys, and Millie got tested and was a perfect match. But and that was all great. So glad that she did that, and a really brave move on her part. Very proud of her. But one of the residual effects of that is it puts you in a really high risk for pregnancy. So I'd kind of written it off. And then here comes Penelope, and it's just been amazing. She's a beautiful kid.
Oh, I love what God does and how he just brings everybody together. And you have a new daughter also.
I do.
She's about 8.
She'll be 9.
9 years, yeah,
Sneaking
already.
up on 9, yes. It's amazing. My wife and I adopted a little girl.
And she has, and we're going to talk about this in the next segment, but she's a special needs daughter.
She is, in a very special way, yes.
And we're going to talk about it in a minute. Gary, let's talk about how God has restored your life. You have a beautiful wife, a gorgeous little girl, Eva.
Yep.
Share with me what God has been doing in your life now.
Well, Eva Rose is an amazing story. That's a full show and a half anytime you want to do it. But the short version is we adopted her, brought her home from the hospital. Little redheaded, blue-eyed, just amazing kid. Fairly quickly, within a year or so, you know, it's like things weren't exactly right, language in particular. But it just amazed us at what she would be able to figure out early. You know, when she was old enough and we could get some testing that we could trust, you know, because it's difficult with a toddler. But they told us that her brain operates at roughly 100 times the normal speed, which is amazing and maddening. She's a lot smarter than we are. and she can figure out most things. She's very, very creative. She's crazy with numbers. She's an amazing kid. She started having seizures, I guess it's been 3 years ago now, and which is frightening. We, you know, did all the testing and found out that she had a brain tumor. So we wound up at St. Jude's, which is amazing. After literally decades of doing, anytime St. Jude's wants you to do something, I just say yes, whatever, got to do it, you know, because it's kids. But until you're there and really can appreciate how amazing that place is, from the janitor to the chief surgeon, who's now a good friend, everybody cares, everybody. It's a beautiful community. And thank God that was totally successful. Our favorite word in the English language is benign. And she's about to be 9. And she just blazes on. She's really something. It's constantly, you got to stay constantly aware. But I'm so glad she's in our lives. I told my wife when we decided to do it, this is either going to kill me, you know, because I'm not young. But in my head, I'm 12, you know. So I said, it's either going to kill me or it's going to put 30 or 40 years on my life. And I think I'm going to win.
I think
I'm going to
too.
win. It's caused me to really lean into life very aggressively. In terms of, I always tried to stay fit, but my 65-year-old self could whip my 30-year-old tail pretty bad.
Well, and your wife is very beautiful.
That does not slow me down. She's amazing, yeah.
Now, you have a lot going on now in your career. Let's talk about that.
You know, I'm not happy without a lot of balls in the air. And I've kind of taken my ADHD to an art form. I can't imagine medicating it because it's a tool, you know. I'm doing a new music project. I seem to do one every 4 or 5 years. I can't stop writing. I love it. And I kind of wake up and go, oh, good grief, look at this. And there's just this pile of songs that I know I want heard. So yeah, I'm there. And I know in my soul what God is doing in this moment. I wake up every day thrilled to be living in this window of history. I know it's crazy. I know it's tumultuous. And I know God's got it. I cannot wait to see what He does. He is going to do something. I know it in short order. I'm not a prophet, but I'm also not an idiot. I can feel it. I can feel it in my soul.
What would you say to somebody right now who's so concerned and upset about what's going on and scared and fearful?
Right.
Because I think a lot of people are in today's world. I mean, there's just so much going on. Yeah. What do you say to somebody like that? I
say God is not the author of fear. That's not Him. You're listening to the wrong voices. God brings you hope. He makes the whole thing exciting to me. I wasn't kidding. I love being alive during this time. I could have been born any time, and He let me be born now to live in this moment. And I know it's going to be amazing. I can't describe it in detail, but I know He's going to do something in short order that makes every devout Christian and every devout atheist look at each other and say, that was God. He's in control of this. He is. It's not about politics. It's not about left and right. It's about right and wrong. It's about good and evil. It's about God and Satan slugging it out. Guess who wins? Spoiler alert. We win this
Yes,
thing.
we do.
I'm just looking forward to it. It's going to be amazing.
You know, I follow you on social media and have listened to some of your podcasts, and you really make me laugh.
Well, that's good.
And
Not
so
everybody.
Well, no, I know. Well, you have a sense of humor that I don't know a lot of people know about it, but God's really using that too. And you have a new show coming out.
I do. I'm doing a show called Turbulent Truth. It actually starts airing at the end of this week, and it's a buddy of mine. His name's Scott Kutcher. He's just this really smart, really opinionated, very funny, and when he and I sit down and talk, it's pretty rapid fire. We kind of talk over each other half the time, but it's always at least mildly entertaining. It generally gets pretty funny. Both of us are very conservative, so we kind of feed each other on that, and we just talk about whatever is happening in the world, and the world has given us lots of material. It's awesome, so we're having a good time with it.
Share one episode or something that you've discussed that just makes people laugh.
Oh, wow.
Or anything that's...
No, I can do it. I can do it. The whole transgender thing that, you know, everybody's, the thing about...
The swimmer. I used to be a swimmer.
Okay. My little girl's a swimmer. Mm-hmm. She could swim when she was 6 months old. And if some dude gets in the water with her and swims down to the end and beats her and tries to take her trophy away, I'm going to be down there waiting on him. I'm not going to hit him, but I'm going to talk to him about the choices he's making in life, because somebody has not done it, and it'll be my lot in life to straighten that out.
Well, you know, I was born with 2 boys. I'm a triplet.
Yeah.
We were all swimmers.
Yeah.
We all swam the same stroke.
No kidding.
But they would... there was no question they could beat me.
Well, yeah, I mean, come on. I mean, life is so much simpler than the enemy wants it to be.
Yeah.
Again, the confusion, the taking away of our true identity, because your true identity is found in Jesus.
It is.
And Jesus is yet to tell anybody, I screwed up. I made you a boy, but you're not. He has not done that yet, and he's not planning to. That confusion has got to be avoided, and the only way to do it is to lose yourself in Jesus. Lose yourself in him, and you will be more joyful. You will see the world differently.
Well, Gary, we only have about a minute or so. What would you say to somebody who's listened to you right now?
I would say have hope. Have hope. Yes, the world is on fire, and it's okay.
Well,
it's absolutely okay.
I absolutely love what God has done. He's brought you full circle. And I remember your dad coming back to your home.
Yes.
And what would you do? You started the hymns?
Yeah. The thing that brought him comfort toward the end of his life was me sitting on the edge of the bed singing the songs that he had taught me 50 years previous. So we do a thing called a hymn a week. You can find that on Facebook. It's a special thing to me.
I love how he was with you from the very beginning and to his very end.
Yeah.
Gary, I just want to thank you so much for just sharing a little glimpse into your life. And you know, Ted and I love you, and we just want the best for you.
It's my pleasure. Same for you guys.
My friend, are you struggling with restoration in your life and you need it? I want you to know that you are in the Father's eyes and he loves you so much. Take a hold of him. This is today's Nashville. This is faith.
Cornerstone Television wishes to thank all our faithful viewers whose consistent prayers and financial support have made this program possible.